All right, update. So I've added some lighting. I added two lights. It's one directional light that's supposed to be kind of like sunlight, and one that's sort of rotating around, sort of like a spotlight. And as you can also see, I've changed the terrain, the way it's generated. It's a bit more terrain-like now. And so I want to talk a bit about some of the issues that I'm running into now that I'm going to try to resolve. First off, when I first ran this, I noticed the frame rate was significantly lower, and so I had to reduce the size of the terrain. So that's why it's smaller. I mean, it's still quite a lot. There is still quite a lot here, but when I made it very large, the frame rate was down to like 20. So I think it's pretty clear to me what's happening here. Each cell in the terrain, which, I mean, a cell is like, pretty small. It's like one of these, it's a cube about the size of one of these triangles. So there were thousands of these cells, and there probably still are, and even in the smaller terrain here. Thousands of these cells, and each one is its own mesh. And so I think once I added the lighting, that each separate mesh had to do its own lighting calculation on its own. And so this is, thousands of calculations per frame. It's just, it slowed it way down. Even now you can see, I mean, I'm in like, it's bouncing around 40 frames per second roughly. So so clearly I need to do some optimizing. I think probably what I need to do is just separate out the terrain into chunks and have each chunk as its own mesh. And it should look the same, and it would hopefully, that calculation would be more efficient, and it would hopefully stay around 60 frames per second, ideally. What else? We've got coloring is another issue. I'm not really sure what's going on with this. So the terrain, as you probably saw before, it was kind of a dark red color. It's the reason it was dark red is because there was no lighting, but with kind of a moderate amount of lighting, it should look sort of a red color. But instead, I think maybe my directional light is too strong, and so it's just turning everything kind of gray. But then what's strange is once this rotating light comes around, it changes it back to red, which I don't know if I'm not really sure what's going on with that. It kind of seems like the blending of the lights is not really working the way I would expect it to. But anyways, that's something I'm not concerned really with that much at all right now. And then another thing I want to look at is you can see it's much more obvious now where the triangles are. And you can see that each triangle kind of looks like a flat surface, and you can see the edges in many places. I kind of like how this looks, to be honest. It looks kind of cool. But I think, for realism, or for if you want to make the terrain look nice, once you have textures and everything, you don't want it to look like a whole bunch of flat surfaces. So I believe the way to fix that is just by adding in the normal vectors, which I already mentioned before that I was going to do. I still haven't done it. It should be very simple to add that. And then once I add that in, then the flat surfaces should they should look less obvious. I think the lighting will be calculated differently, and we'll see kind of a more smooth looking surface. That's what I believe will happen, but I'm not entirely sure. So I guess we'll find out. I might make this terrain even smaller just to keep it optimized, or keep it running relatively smoothly for now. Yeah, I'll turn down the size of this, and then once I've added in the normal vectors, I'll make another video here, and then really, I mean, I'm kind of putting off the optimization, but that is realistically, that's probably going to be the most important thing. So yeah,